Welcome to the RVETS Foot Handling Training Module. This is required training for those participating in an RVETS clinic and those who are working with us to gentle a BLM donkey. Always remember to work on level, soft ground. Asking a horse or donkey to pick up its feet on uneven ground or on gravel will put you at a disadvantage from the start and will set you up to fail. A lot of horses will pick up a leg for you if you simply touch the leg or run your hand down below the knee or hock. The purpose of this presentation is to demonstrate how to approach an unfamiliar equid or one about which you might have safety concerns. Horses should always be approached slowly and quietly, but with confidence. Sneaking or creeping will only enforce the horse's suspicion that you might be a stalking predator. The use of auditory cues in horses is controversial, except to say that loud talking or shouting will always cause more problems than they will solve. Talk in a quiet, calm voice with a normal tone. Avoid baby talk or high-pitched whining. Not only is it unprofessional, but it's highly annoying. We don't routinely greet horses with food rewards, and would do so only if we had already inquired of the owner if they approve. Do not use food if they are begging for it, or if it distracts them from tactile and visual cues you are providing, or interferes with their attempt to work through a problem to find a solution. The handler should be standing on the same side that you are and should have the head turned slightly in your direction. Since the shoulder region is the safe zone on any horse or mule, start there. Spend some time just rubbing the neck, shoulder, and withers before you put a hand on the leg. While you're doing this, watch the ears, eyes, lips, mouth, head position, and muscle tone. These will give you an idea if you're moving too fast or if the animal may be untrained to have its feet handled. If you're training it to pick up its hooves, you may have to stop and back up periodically. It's better to back off a little early than to push things and trigger a fight or flight response. For the purpose of this presentation, we will assume that the horse has some basic training and that you need to pick up and handle the hooves for the purpose of trimming or examination. Throughout this process, discipline will gain you nothing but problems. A calm, patient approach works best. Even in an untrained horse, mule, or donkey, the process is the same. You simply have to go slower and be more patient. Take a minute or two or longer to make friends and get an idea of the demeanor and level of training you're working with. Then run your right hand down the leg. If you face the horse, it gives you a complete view from head to tail and puts you in a position where if it tries to kick or bite, you can easily push yourself to safety. It is very rare that you will be faced with an animal that is really dangerous, or even more than a little difficult. As your experience increases, you'll be able to more successfully read an equid's intentions and go through this process more rapidly. However, this presentation is designed to keep even a novice safe. Keep in mind the fastest way to complete a task is often to go more slowly. Once the horse seems relaxed, run your right hand down the left front leg. If you're working on the right front, use your left hand. Notice that the operator's head is about at the level of the elbow. This helps you stay safe from a cow kick, even with a mule. Keep in mind that positioning is a little more critical with mules because they can reach further forward than horses. Spending a little more time sizing up an unfamiliar mule is always time well spent. Keep your left hand on the shoulder. When your right hand is at the fetlock and pastern, slide it around to the front of the leg. A little pressure with either your hand or your shoulder will shift the horse's weight onto the opposite leg. While this pressure is on the shoulder, scoop the leg up with your fingers cupped around the front of the pastern like a sling. This is much more effective than trying to pull the leg up with your hand on the back of the leg. Holding the leg so it's well supported will give the horse more confidence and prevents you from dropping the foot, which could startle the horse and compromise its trust in your ability. Using just your fingers on the back of the leg is a much weaker hold, especially if you lack hand strength. Horses' legs are heavy. Once you've lifted the leg, slide your left hand from the shoulder and grasp the toe. Don't rush to put your leg over the hoof and hold it between your knees, and don't hold the leg too high or too far out to the side. This is uncomfortable for the horse and in some instances quite painful. Pausing in this position allows you to straighten up, relax, and give the horse a chance to balance. This is particularly important in horses that have not had their feet worked with regularly. If they try to take the hoof away from you, the toe hold gives you the maximum strength and leverage. Don't try to outmuscle the horse. They are going to win. However, if you can overcome their initial attempt to break away and get them to relax, most horses will allow the hoof to be held easily. If you need to, you can just put the hoof back on the ground. Don't drop it. Rub the horse's shoulder and withers to reassure it and start over again. This is a particularly good idea in an equine that appears anxious or has had limited training. You don't need to hold the hoof with two hands. One more hand isn't going to give you enough strength to make any difference. When working on the right side, your hands are simply reversed. Once the horse has balanced on 3 legs and relaxed, you can step over the hoof with your left knee, working on the horse's left side. As you do this, try to feel any reaction in the horse. You are looking for a position that is comfortable for the horse, not necessarily for you. Remember not to get too far forward or to the side. This will abduct and twist the leg, causing a negative reaction. Note the handler's hip is between this horse's shoulder and elbow. The hoof should be held as demonstrated here. This squeezes your knees together on the hoof and forms a triangle with your feet, toes in and heels out. This conserves your strength, gives you the maximum stability, and the horse the most confidence. You need to be able to hold a horse's hoof with your legs to allow 2 free hands. Without your hands free, you cannot effectively use a hoof knife, hoof nippers, rasp, pull-ups, or hoof testers. Any aspiring veterinarian should be able to do this and do it well. Some horses resist having their weight shifted from the leg to be picked up. Here's an alternative technique that often works in young, minimally trained animals or big horses that have gotten in the habit of leaning on people. Working on the left side, instead of putting your left hand on the horse's shoulder, put it on the back of the carpus, just below the bump caused by the accessory carpal bone. Place your shoulder up against the horse's shoulder. Note chihuahuas in the foreground for reinforcement. Also note the horse's tail swishing. This could be due to flies, but is also a sign that the horse is not happy about what you're doing. Learn to pay attention to what the horse is telling you. Run your opposite hand down the front of the cannon or metacarpus to the pastern. Lean into the shoulder, flex the carpus, and scoop up the hoof in one motion. Once the carpus is flexed, the hoof comes off the ground pretty easily. Now you can run your left hand to the toe, let him settle, and get ready to put the hoof between your knees, just as with the other technique. To approach the hind leg, always start at the shoulder and work towards the point of the hip. Talk to the horse and run your hands over his withers, back, and barrel, then move to the flank. Your body should be close to the horse with your legs positioned so that if he cow kicks, his hoof is going to miss your leg. Remember, we're talking about an unfamiliar animal with which you have no experience and have reason for concern. Take the time to slide a hand down to the belly and flank, as this will help you predict the reaction to your standing next to an area about which horses are naturally sensitive. Be on your toes, as this is a point at which an untrained animal may kick. With 2 hands at the point of the hip, slide your right hand down the thigh to the leg. The left hand remains in contact with the horse. This allows you to feel if the animal tenses and to push yourself back towards the shoulder, that is the safe zone, should the individual kick or move into you. Note the leg position diagonal to the axis of the horse's body. Gradually run your right hand down the back of the left hind leg, maintaining the same body position and taking your time to see how he will react. Your shoulders will remain in front of the horse's stifle as your right hand runs over the hock to the cannon and onto the back of the lower leg. Remember, this all happens while you keep your left hand in contact with the horse. Pushing the horse's weight onto the right side with your left hand while your right hand is cupped under the cannon, fetlock, or pastern, you can pull up and forward, causing the hock to flex and the hind leg to come off the ground. Once the hoof comes off the ground, grasp the toe with your left hand just as you did with the front. Hold the toe and give the horse a moment to settle and allow you to hold the leg comfortably. This big horse is leaning on the handler, but because he has the toe, he can comfortably keep the hoof up until the horse realizes that he is going to hold on, relaxes, balances, and stands properly. Once the horse has squared up his legs and is standing quietly, the handler can move back under the horse and put the hind leg over his thigh, with the dorsal surface of the pastern in the trough that is made between his knees. The front of the cannon or metatarsus rests on your left thigh, and you position your body to make the horse comfortable. In this case, the handler's body is behind the stifle. The best spot depends on the animal's conformation, your size, and what the horse is used to. Once you've found a spot where the horse is comfortable and relaxed, the front side of the pastern is squeezed between your knees. To do this, your leg and foot position is the same as with the front, but the animal's leg is over your thigh and not between your legs. Placing your arm over the hock will allow the use of your left elbow to pull the gaskin against your hip and hold the leg firmly pressed into the trough between your knees. Note that the handler's body is turned slightly in with the axis of his shoulders at an angle to the axis of the horse's back. Once the horse accepts your holding his leg, your hands are free to work as with the fronts. Should an attempt be made to take the hoof away, simply remove the leg from your thigh, grasp the toe with your left hand, and allow it to shift lower and further under the horse's body. Do not allow the hoof to drop. Wait to see if he is going to relax and allow you to take it again. If it seems that he is worried about you holding the leg, or if you're tired and weakening, wait until he relaxes, stands quietly, and then put the hoof back on the ground. Always try to give the hoof back to the horse rather than letting him take it away from you. Every time he takes it, he will get better at avoiding your hold. In training a horse to accept hoof trimming or shoeing, you will do the toe hold many times before they will stand. Be patient and they will learn to accept your grasp on the leg. If they're trying to kick, holding their toe will cause them to just push you away rather than striking you with a hard blow. Do not try to pull the leg way up or way out to the side. Look for a place where they can balance and stand comfortably. This completes this very basic but hopefully useful discussion of how to pick up the feet of an unfamiliar equid. When working on the right side, the hand and body position are simply reversed. Don't expect to be able to do this easily right away. This takes practice to find the positioning that works for your body form and with different animals. There's no substitute for picking up the hooves on a large number of different horses. If you're serious about wanting to do equine work, it's up to you to practice this until you've mastered the skill. Both your clients and colleagues will recognize if you have put enough time into this, as well as if you haven't. Good luck.